Never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. Bob Marley. And welcome back to Through Her Lens with Nita B. And today's episode, it's a little different. This week marks 6 years since I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And honestly, the moment is what pushed me to really double down on podcasting, content creation, and take my dreams and goals seriously. Now, I had been creating content in different forms in the years prior to that, but that moment right there, being diagnosed with a chronic illness that will stay with me for the rest of my life and change the course of my life, did me on such a level that my professional and personal goals became top priority to me, and part of the reason Need to Be exists today. I want to take you back to that time. I've shared my story before. If you Today, I want to share with you what it meant for me, impacted me and everyone around me, and more importantly, talk to you about how moments that feel like the end can actually be the beginning of something bigger. You get news that changes your life, whether it's a diagnosis, a loss, a major shift. It's easy to feel like the floor just dropped out from under you. You feel scared, you feel uncertain, you wonder, keep the life I imagine. How is this going to impact my life? What exactly is going to happen to me? And honestly, you feel out of control. It is a scary place to be in. Maybe you're in your own version of that right now. Maybe it's not MS or some chronic illness, but maybe it's something that made you stop in your tracks and ask, what now? Me, that moment came on Halloween 6 years ago. A couple weeks before Halloween, took a trip to Atlanta, and that trip nonetheless was stressful. I had went to speak at a conference, and it's one of those things where everything that kind of could go wrong went wrong that weekend. My son wound up sick, and we wound up in like an car all night. We got there late. There was problems with check-in. There was lack of sleep. There was the driving that I did. A lot of stress in that moment. And upon returning from Atlanta, I started having these dizzy spells that I couldn't figure out what was happening. And it really felt like my floating outside of my body at different times of the day. And I ended up going to my doctor a few days before Halloween because I'm like, hey, maybe it's vertigo. I don't know what's going on, but it's getting worse and it's happening more and more often when I'm driving, when I'm standing up. It was just the weirdest sensation ever. And when I went to my doctor, she did all these tests to try and figure out what was wrong. Was like, well, maybe it's vertigo, but then I wasn't having like all symptoms of vertigo. Didn't really know what was happening. But she wrote me out of work for the rest of the week and just told me to rest. And she gave some medicine for dizzy spells. And that was that. Stayed home, stay, did. And it was time for me to go pick my daughter up at the bus stop. When I got up, the left side of my body felt like it was asleep. It felt like I had slept on my side for too long. You know that feeling that you get. Notice when I went to kind of go the steps, my leg wasn't coming with me. But again, still didn't really pay it any attention. Just went about my business, and I was supposed to be going to the store, but I did not. I went and picked my daughter up from the bus stop, and that voice said, "Come back home." So when we pull back up into the driveway, I go to run up these two little steps in the front of my house and I fall. And I put my hands down and I'm trying to get my left leg up the steps and it keeps hitting the step. It won't lift up above the step. And my daughter's like, Mom, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. Something just isn't right. Went into the house. My side, I was still feeling numb. So got my husband. We're like, okay, let's call 911. Call 911. They get here. They're trying to like diagnose me, figure out what's going on. And they're like, okay, well, let's take you to the hospital. Get over to the hospital. Doing the test of lift your leg up. I can barely lift my left leg up. They're like, seriously, that's all you can do? I'm like, yeah, seriously, that's all I can do. So they tell me, okay, I'll call a stroke alert. And when we call a stroke alert, people are going to rush in here. They're going to start doing all this stuff to you because they really didn't know what was happening to me. They're going to start poking, prodding, doing all this stuff to you, but don't panic. And when I tell you, when they called stroke alert, people just appeared from nowhere, hooking me up to stuff, putting IVs in, doing all these tests, and the neurologist came in. And it was when the neurologist came in and he had me, I think, close my eyes. It was then that I remembered that I had had optic neuritis in my right eye 2 years prior to that. Now, if you know anything about optic neuritis, it's damage to your optic nerve, and I had actually lost vision in my right eye 2 years prior to that. Able to get it back corrected 2020 completely. But once he did that, I remember them telling me that, okay, you optic neuritis, sometimes it's a sign of MS, but right now you don't have any lesions and you're good. So I closed my eye and I was like, that's right. I let the neurologist know. And he was like, okay, maybe having an MS relapse here. So that led to me being admitted to the hospital for 5 days on Halloween. And night that I was admitted into the hospital, I had 2 seizures. The left side of my body just wasn't operating right. I remember trying to eat with a fork and spoon, and I couldn't stab the food the next day. I had to do like occupational therapy, physical therapy. It was a time. And in all of that, being poked, prodded, all these tests, at the end of the 5 day stay, it walked away with, you have MS. And that right there, I'll be real with you, I didn't fully understand what it meant at the time. I just knew that my body had been through a trauma. I was scared, but I knew that everything was about to change. And life, as we knew it, changed. My kids got a different mom, husband got a different wife. Everyone got a different need to be. And it was an adjustment because I came home not being able to do anything for myself, not being able to drive, couldn't watch. Like I had to sit in the dark. My was at college at the time, so my oldest daughter kind of had to step up and take over and help with stuff because my husband had to work. And it's not until like later when you reflect on conversations and you realize how much of a trauma that was to the family as a whole. I mean, really, there was skills put in place, therapy, all that to kind of work through it, but everyone's life really changed on that day. Beyond that, with life changing, it was one of those things of when they say life comes at you fast and you realize you have dreams and goals that you've put off, and it's like, I can't put them off anymore. Life got real. If I want to pursue dreams and goals, then that is what I'm going to do. But then if you're like me, you have that extremist part to you where you go from one extreme to the next, and neither one is good. Being an extremist on either end isn't good. And I feel that through these years with cultivating the podcasting I started with More Than a Mother, the Juan Mo's World, content creation, all of this coming together for such a time of this as need to be was for me to find the balance of living my dreams and goals while still showing up as the wife, mother, person that my family needed me to be, and the woman that I needed to be for myself. And my dreams and goals became more than an idea back then. Stepped into it. And today, as need to be, I can fully own it and fully own it the right way. There was a lot of healing and stuff I had to do through my More Than a Mother and Juan Mo's World journey that I didn't realize. And part of that is what led me to step away from that. But as I stand here right now, 6 years post diagnosis, my life has changed. Yes, I recognize my limits. Sometimes, honestly, I still do push myself too much, and I still do a lot. But believe it or not, I have cut back a lot. I've learned to give myself grace. I've learned to not let this illness stop me, but I've also learned not to push myself too much. And I've learned to navigate life, be okay with accepting help, and understand that at the end of the day, it really is going to be okay. MS for these 6 years taught me a lot of lessons. One thing that it taught me was that your challenges, they don't silence you, they shape you. They build character. They help you build resiliency, a level of buoyancy, Because that diagnosis, it could have easily shut me down. And I'll admit, on some levels, I sunk into that. Like, I'm gonna lie to you. I did feel some type of way. I did mourn a version of me that I had lost and I had going on. But at the end of the day, I found the courage to make a change, the courage to step into my goals, the courage to conquer that challenge. And yes, it did change who I was, change how I had to do things, but it didn't take anything away from me. Instead, it helped me to add value to my life, to add value to my dreams and goals, and to really cherish the moments of life that we often take for granted. Also learned that community is everything. People in your corner to support you, people who see you, people who show up for you, people that remind you you're not alone. It is okay to ask for help. We don't have to do this journey alone. Community is what makes the load a little bit lighter. Family is what makes things not so hard for us each and every day. This life was never meant to be done alone, to carry things alone. Your family may not be the best. Guess what? You can create your own form of family. You can find your people. You can find your community. You can find those that will support you, that will be there for you, and that will encourage you on your hardest day. Because at the end of the day, when you have that community, when you have that support, it makes life feel a little bit lighter. Thing, your story is your power. MS taught me that the very thing that you think disqualifies you, the thing that you think takes away from you, can become the reason that people connect with you the most. Stepping into those vulnerable areas, showing that we all struggle with things, we all have a story, that builds connection because people will say and they will see, oh, if she can do it with that chronic illness, then I can do it too. If she can do it with a disability, then I can do it too. I can reach my dreams and goals too. So when you put yourself out here, when you share your story, remember that one story, that one moment, if it touches one person, you've done your job. And that's why I always take the moment to share my story because I do not look like what I've been through. And that is just a part of my story. But if you saw me 6 years ago, laid up in the hospital, having seizures, struggling to use my hands, struggling to walk, struggling to see, and you look at me now, nothing but the grace of God. I struggle with this invisible disability every single day. Some days it knocks me on my back, but as Cardi B always says, you knock me down 9 times and I get up 10. I've learned to rest when I need to rest. I've learned not to do too much, although that's still a work in progress. And most of all, be kind to myself and give myself grace. And that is what I tell you today, my friend. Be kind to yourself and give yourself grace. Keep pushing, hang in there, because you've got this. So let me ask you, what is one moment in your life that changed everything? That thing that scared you, that stretched you, or that forced you to grow? Are you hiding from that story? Or are you ready to use it? Are you ready to own it? Are you ready to step into your power? My story, owning my journey, has been one of the best things I've ever done. And 6 years later, I can tell you, diagnosis, the setback, the what now moment, it doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the start of something new, the start of a new chapter. The podcast, the journey, all of it started because of one hard moment that forced me to show up differently. Facing your own version of that, I hope you remember, not alone, and your story still has power and a purpose. Want to hear more about my journey with MS, how it shaped my life, how it continued to shape my everyday? Then be sure you're connected with me on At Its Need to Be. And for all of my MS warriors out there, keep pushing. We've got this. And until next time, I want you to remember your hardest moment might just be the spark that lights your purpose.